pleasure this morning to invite to the rostrum Brett Dawson. He is actually went through first year classes last year, and now look at where he is. This could be used. We just started classes last Tuesday, our first class, and you know what? We're still letting people in to the end of the month, and so it's not too late. So with no further ado, I'm going to invite you this morning to listen to Brett Dawson.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Brett.
It's nice to see all of you here today, and from the powers in the room, the angels, a lot of angelic power in this room, and they tell me it's going to be a great day, a very great day. And I know a lot of you are here for Psychic Tea upstairs, and I will touch on that later in my talk this morning. The subject I want to explore with all of you, my brothers and sisters, today is about the new energies that we are in. And lately we've been hearing a lot about new energies. If you go to enough spiritualist service around the area, or you look at Facebook and are on, like, your Facebook friends are like-minded and in the spiritualist movement, you hear a lot about the new energies. And these energies, Reverend Alva touched us on this a lot, are the same energies that we had when Jesus and John the Baptist and Mother Mary, when they all lived on the earth, this earth plane 2,000 odd years ago. These are the energies that we have now coming into us. And it just seems that a lot of people nowadays, and I hear this, like, I see my friends, like, when I'm on, Facebook, let's face it, it's a way of life now, right, folks? And you can't get in touch with people, you always look on Facebook. But I hear a lot of talk, because a lot of people on Facebook are, like, in the spiritualist movement and that, and I hear a lot of talk about people feeling out of sorts. Over the summer, I was noticing there was a lot of talk about Mercury in retrograde and people feeling not good and having to fight, a lot of different feelings and whatnot, feelings of pent-up anxiety, of a lot of energy and that. And when I meditate and I ask Spirit, okay, what is this all about? What do you have to say to me about this? What do you have to say to all of us about this? And what Spirit comes back usually is that you have to have patience, and you have to take time. Take time to understand yourself, and take time to understand others. That's a very hard thing to do for some of us sometimes. Usually a lot of times I find myself, and I'm sure many of you, my brothers and sisters, also find yourselves asking this question, is what is really at stake in my life? Where do I find the answers that have been plaguing me for so long about what this universe has for me, and how am I going to get anywhere with the powers that are around me? And I remember Reverend Norm Gyalka a few years ago, he touched on this a little bit. He said that there's going to be a time, which I believe he's pointing to now, that we are going to see a lot of changes in the world and in our world. He said some will be overt, and I think we've seen enough sad news on the television and on the different media outlets to know that, yeah, we're starting to see some big changes. And even within ourselves, like just subtle changes, things that, in the day-to-day, they could be good or they could be bad. I pray that they're good more than they are bad. I know for myself, what I'll point to as an example is, I think I'm getting a little bit better about not blowing my top about things so much. I'm a very emotional person, and I always have been. But I always continue to ask, like Jesus, who is a very important figure for me, and my angel guides and my main guide, White Feather, I always ask, can you just please help me just be a better person? Just not lash out, not be so knee-jerk. Just be a better person. And I find lately I've been able to calm down, and it's good. But then again, I've been in a lot of pain too. That also helps you to calm down. But I find that if you're going to work with the new energies, and it's not going to be easy, because, you know, I find myself fighting it still a lot, because basically this is a shift, right? And the new energies, what they're trying to get us to do is they're trying to get us to, oh man, I had this in the morning when I was shaving. I forget. No, it's like to expand your virtues, but to minimize your vices. And, you know, you're like, yeah, okay, Brett, easy for you to say, isn't it? But it's not easy for me to say, and it's even harder for all of us to do, and I understand that. And that's why with the new energies, it's also a part of what we have to do to have a new intellect, to have a new, like, we have to divest ourselves of a lot of old prejudices, and I think the best way to say it is to the things that don't serve us anymore. We just have to let go of a lot of things that don't serve us anymore. And I would say, my own personal opinion, and you take it for what it is, but what I've been doing a lot lately is I've been meditating, because in meditation, I find that it's very key into the journey that I have with these new energies, and I find myself, I can still my mind, still my soul, and I become one with the infinite intelligence of the universe, or if you want, God, and it helps me understand myself and my life a little more clearly. Now, please don't get me wrong, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that I'm mastering any of the key components of mind, body, spirit communion, and nor have I achieved complete clarity as to exactly what is the ultimate of right or wrong, and what is, you know, what is exactly the truth for all of us collectively. But what I have found is that I've learned I might be a little tougher than what I thought I was in the past. And I'm also getting better at approaching complete strangers and even old familiar friends, which sometimes can be tougher than complete strangers. And I offer messages of hope and love. And I see myself in a more positive and loving manner than I might have done 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And I believe this is what we can all do to collectively become better and individually become better as well. Now, what I've done in my meditations, you saw it this morning. I hope I didn't scare anybody off. It was just the way that Spirit moved me today. Well, that, and I forgot to stick out the tape recorder. Number 2 on the list, Brett. Number 2 on the list, music. But I started drumming when I meditated, and I was telling a friend about this, and he says, "Really? You can concentrate like this?" And I said, "You know," I said, when I was at Hearth Place, like when I was right in the middle of my chemo, I went to this drumming circle at Hearth Place, and this is where I sort of got into this. Now, a little bit of back information. My past lives seem to have been steeped in this earth plane, on this continent, with more an Aboriginal tone. This has been affirmed and confirmed time and time and time again. So, and this summer I went to a lot of powwows, and I really sort of connected with that energy. And so when I'm meditating, of course, I'm like, and this is like the heartbeat, sort of like the heartbeat of the earth. And I want, if we can just do a little something, if y'all can just close your eyes for a minute and just like get into a very comfortable meditative pose. And I want you to just see if you can feel what I'm talking about, all right? How did that feel?
Comfortable. Good. Yeah, comfortable.
It
Feel
felt
it inside.
good?
You
What's
feel
that?
it inside.
You can feel it inside. And that's what I think the whole part of this new process is it's feeling more. It's actually feeling right from the gut, and from your heart, from your mind, and communicating with people sort of on a new level. Because I think in the past, and the way society has been in the past, it was a lot of, like in secular life, we don't connect with us. Like, we don't connect with each other a lot. We just seem to sort of take each other for granted. And that shows up a lot in relationships, that shows up a lot in business relationships, personal relationships the most, if you look at divorce and whatnot. But I mean, then again too, that's all part of learning, and that's all part of our life path and our contract. But you know, I gotta say one thing, that as I've been going on in this journey, I look at people a lot differently. Because see, I'm not seeing a room full of people here that are just my fellow congregants here at the Divine Light Spiritual Foundation. I'm seeing a lot of gods and goddesses here. People who I revere, people who I respect, people who I want to learn from, and that I hope will want to learn from me. Because this travel that we're on is all together. We need to be together, and we need to know that if one falters, there's always a hand to pick you up. And that's a big part of what we are trying to do. And I think that's a big part of the new energies, is to be more conscious of one another, more loving of one another, more caring of one another. And like I said, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a stroll in the park, let's say. It's going to have its bumpy paths. It's going to have a lot of rocks and a lot of things around it. But you know, knowing that we have each other to lean on is more comforting than feeling disconnected and with no one around. So, all I can say is that in the course of my meditations, I have been working with an angel who calls himself Malachi, or who has identified himself to me as Malachi. And I've sort of talked to him, and it's like, I'll put it the way I have it here. He wanted me to send a message to all of you. Okay, even though it was like a few months back I got this, I really feel it was meant for this congregation to hear today. And he says, Tell our brothers and sisters that no external forces can really cause them to feel any certain way, and no matter how empathetic they are. So no matter how much empathy or how much psychic ability you might have, a lot of things come from in here. That's what he says. He says, brothers and sisters of humanity, allow your higher selves to guide you. Examine your consciousness. Forgive yourselves of whatever shortcomings or misgivings you may have, and look for redemption in the Creator. So, basically, what Spirit seems to be telling me is that you gotta know that you are precious, and that nobody is up there looking to strike you down. There isn't, big judge sitting there going, oh, you did wrong. Oh, you're not getting anywhere in the world. No. What it is basically it comes from within you. You have a higher self. You have that connection with God. It's up to you to sort of forgive yourself of whatever you feel has gone on in your life. And it's up to you to examine that and say, okay, maybe I could have done better here. I did pretty good over here. And then you take that and you run with it, and you be the better person that everybody knows you can be, and you know you can be. Because you know what? It's not just that you can be, you are. You are better people, all of you. So I'm just going to wrap up by saying that I was going to talk a little bit about the psychic tea today. My notes on the psychic tea. See, I know when the psychic teas come, it's almost like Christmas. This is when I know it's psychic tea because I get a better room. Well, not just me, anybody gets a better room here when it's psychic tea, because they're like, oh, psychic tea, yay. And you all want to put down things, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't, get that cringe going, I'm sorry, no, it's okay. I understand, because you know what? You need that affirmation in your life. You need to hear some kind and comforting words, because I know God knows out there in the secular world, you're not going to hear it, because not everybody's awake yet. They'll get there, but not everybody's quite awake yet. But you know what? It doesn't matter. They'll get there, and we'll feel more love as we go along in this life. But today, I just want to ask you to maybe shift a little when you're at the psychic tea. Usually everybody's like, am I going to get a better job? Am I going to find Mr. and Mrs. Right, or Mr. and Mrs. Right now, depending on what the situation is. And what I would like you to do, what do I got here, is actually see if you can ask the medium of your choice, what does God want me to do? What does my higher self really want out of this life? And what track am I to be on? I think that's a very important question to ask. That's something that, really connects us to getting to that road to happiness. Because I feel like I know it in myself. For the past couple of years, I've been battling with poor health, and I praise God that He's seen me through it. But I'm still sort of at a crossroads, because I'm still carrying around some hurt feelings and some grudges that I gotta let go. And I know, my brothers and sisters, that as bright and beautiful as you all are, you still have things that you got to get off your chest too, because we're all in the same boat together. So what I hope you get out of today's psychic tea is maybe not a definite path, but a path that'll take you to God, a path that'll make you understand where you belong in this universe. Because that's very important, to know where you belong in this universe. There's no worse feeling in the world than feeling like, I don't know where I belong, I don't know where I fit in, but you all do. Because you're all beautiful and you're very loved. So I thank you for listening to me this morning. I thank you for your love and light and strength of friendship and support that you bestow on me. Thank you all for allowing me to share my heart and insights. I look forward to seeing what the universe unfolds for all of us as we grow and progress in this world. Thank you very much. God bless.